Good morning, guys. Good morning. Hope everybody's doing great on this Monday, starting your week out awesome. I'm heading into the office right now. Just I ought to get there just a little bit after 9 o'clock this morning. Running just a tad bit behind. Had a couple phone calls that came in unexpectedly that I had to take at the house. So getting in the office a bit later than I typically do. What I want to talk to everybody today about, screech tires out of my neighborhood here, is there's a particular number that you want to be afraid of, and you want to be cautious of, and you want to avoid, and that's the number one. The only time you ever want to be with number one is going to be if you are number one in your market. Other than that, one of anything is your enemy in business. In your junk removal business, one of anything is your enemy. So you don't want to have one truck. You start out with one truck, that's fine. In the short term, that's what you got to do. You need to have a backup option, though. It needs to be a rental truck. Go ahead and get a U-Haul or budget account or whatever set up, so you get a discounted rate. You get a commercial account set up, so you get a discounted rate when the time comes your truck breaks down, because it is going to break down. The other thing is you don't want just one key employee. So if it's you, if it's you on the truck and you've got one other guy that you rely on to do the work with you, and he goes out, you need to have another plan in place. Typically, you want to have two employees and not just one. That way, if he quits, then you're out completely for every day. If he calls out sick, there's a chance the other guy can come on in early, or can come on in for that day and cover. So you don't want just one key employee. You don't want just one advertising method. So we built our business on Google AdWords, and it used to scare the hell out of me, because a huge portion of our jobs came from AdWords. It used to scare the hell out of me that what happens if something on AdWords changes, if something with Google happens to Google and they change this platform, we're screwed on getting new business. So I was always striving and working hard to build sales and get our name out there, and try other advertising methods. They worked okay, not great, but I always made sure that we had another advertising avenue. So if something happened with Google, that our pipeline wouldn't be completely blocked. It would be significantly restricted if Google went away at that point, but it wouldn't be blocked. Now, over almost 60% of our jobs are repeat business or referral business, so that's no longer the case. But still, about 30% of our business is from Google. It's a combination of AdWords and SEO. If we do $2 million in a year, 30% of that is coming from Google. So we're still getting around $600,000 worth of business every year from Google between AdWords and search engine optimization. So, and that took a while to get. I mean, that's years of nurturing our online reputation, of bringing our SEO up, where our organic ad ranking, and of perfecting an AdWords campaign. And then also, people will do a search on Google and they'll see our name, and then they remember, oh yeah, I've seen those guys driving around, I've heard of them. And so that nothing's instantaneous for the most part in business. You find something that works, and you nurture it, and you nurture it, and you nurture it, and you massage it until it's really bringing you in a lot of business. And then you always try and avoid just one advertising method. One key customer should scare the hell out of you. So, for example, when we opened up our Charlotte location, we got a contract in Charlotte that was good for almost $100,000 for that year. It's some apartments, and they every week they've got multiple complexes, and every week they're bringing us a couple $1,000s in business generally. So $100,000 there, but we had to truck up for that. We had to add an extra truck there. We had to add more people, and I was always worried, what happens if this stops? We've made this investment. The location's doing great. We made this investment, but if we lose this customer, what's going to happen? So you hustle. You bang every single advertising method you can that at least breaks even or comes close to breaking even. and you get as much business as you can, because every single time, every time you have a customer, that's another job down the line too. That's another referral. That's another repeat business down the line, and you hit it just as hard as you can. And now we've got that location where if we lost that particular customer, it would hurt for sure, but we got a profitable location even without that $100,000 a year customer. One vendor on like a demolition job, like one of the things we do is when we go out of town, we'll go all over to do some demolition work, and we don't use our trucks on demolition jobs. We rent dumpsters, and if at all possible, we never rent from just one company, unless it's a company we know we've used a lot. They do a great job. They have the best rates. We might make an exception there. But if we're going into a market we're not familiar with, we rent from at least 2 companies. And then that way, if one drops the ball, hopefully the other can pick up the slack. So go through your business and determine anything that you have just one of. You need to be hitting it hard to try and add a second or third of that particular thing. Answering the phone, you got to think of yourself too. You can't just rely on yourself on answering the phone. You need to have somebody else trained up to answer the phone. What happens if you get sick or you get injured or whatever? So, and that's another good reason for you to get off the truck and not be on the truck. Because if you're not on the truck and you have one of your guys call out sick or quit unexpectedly, then that always leaves you able to pick up the slack. And at some point, that needs to be no longer the case. At some point, you hardly ever need to be on the truck itself. Going out and checking on jobs is one thing. That needs to continue getting done. But, eventually you need to replace you in every single function of your business, even running the day-to-day, the GM stuff. If you want true freedom in your life, you need to have somebody else running everything the day-to-day, and you need to be overlooking it all. You make a bit less money, but you have more options. You make less money in the short term, but you have more options, more flexibility, and less things that are going to sink you when a key person or a piece of equipment goes down, quits, whatever. You're less left out to dry. Let's just put it that way. You got a lot more options when you constantly fill in the things you just have one of. So, only thing in my life that I want one of is one woman, because that's all. And some of y'all are going to debate that. Some of y'all want to get out there and you want several of them, but one's all I can do. One woman, and I picked a good one. That was one of my key things. Is I wasn't going to settle. I was settle on a woman. A lot of guys settle on a woman, and that's the reason they go out there and they look for another one. So I found one that had that basically I could check off almost every single thing that I was looking for, and and that's the only thing I want one of. Everything else I want to back up, and that's kind of what I'm always going for. And so far it's worked out pretty well. $2 million a year in sales by year 5 with junk doctors. I'm able to focus almost all my time on junk removal authority now as we get out there and try and help as many people as possible. None of that would have been possible had I been selfish. It's really selfish. Had I been not long-term, had I not been looking long-term, if I was selfish and taking those short-term profits and not putting off short-term profits for long-term gains, for long-term sustainability and security for me and my family, then none of that would be possible. So try and avoid one. The only time you ever want to be one is you want to be number one in your market, and you only want to have one woman. But other than that, you need to have backup options in place for everything else. We're going to try and get several videos out today. We'll talk to everybody soon. Y'all have a great day, profitable day, busy day. Let's kick some ass. Let's make some money. Let's recycle and donate some junk. And let's just have a damn good time. Talk to everybody soon.